All right, so we're going deep on this one. Change your thinking, change your life. Pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's all about how our thoughts can actually shape our reality.
Yeah.
Like we have this incredible power to kind of create the life we want just by changing the way we think.
Harnessing the power of the mind, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the book dives right into some pretty compelling stories.
Yeah.
And one that really stuck with me was the one about the woman who develops amnesia after a car accident.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
It's so fascinating because, even with no memory of her past, she ends up becoming like this leading expert on memory loss.
It's like she took this incredibly challenging situation and turned it into this opportunity for growth and expertise, which really speaks to the core message of the book, right? That even when we're faced with these seemingly impossible obstacles, we still have that power to choose how we respond and how we shape our reality.
And it all goes back to, our self-concept, that collection of beliefs that we hold about ourselves.
Yeah.
Can really drive our actions and our outcomes.
Right. It's like the book compares our subconscious mind to a computer, and our self-concept is like the software that runs the show.
Exactly. So if you want to change the output, you've got to change the program.
Makes sense. So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about really shifting those deeply held beliefs about who we are and what we're capable of.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things that we have to overcome is fear,
Oh, absolutely.
especially the fear of failure and the fear of rejection.
Those can be so paralyzing and they can really hold us back.
And a lot of times these fears stem from, childhood experiences.
That's interesting.
Like maybe we didn't meet our parents' expectations and we felt that disapproval, and that really shaped our beliefs about ourselves and, the world around us.
Yeah, it's amazing how those early experiences can really stick with us,
For years,
sometimes even decades.
subconsciously.
Yeah.
And the book actually brings up a really interesting perspective from Thomas J. Watson Sr., the founder of IBM.
Okay.
He said, if you want to be successful faster, you must double your rate of failure.
So it's almost like we're taught to avoid failure at all costs.
Right.
But maybe there's something to be said for embracing it as part of the process.
As a necessary part of growth.
Yeah, so it makes you think what fears might be holding you back right now. And how can you start to reframe failure as an opportunity to learn and grow?
That is a powerful question, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the book's concept of self-image, which is essentially like our inner mirror.
Right.
If we're constantly seeing ourselves as inadequate or incapable.
We're going to act in ways that confirm that.
Exactly. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the book suggests a really interesting technique for shifting that self-image, and it's visualization.
Okay.
So instead of dwelling on those negative thoughts and fears,
Mm-hmm.
it encourages us to visualize ourselves performing well in those situations that might typically make us nervous.
So it's like training your brain for success?
Exactly. You're creating this vivid mental picture of success, which can actually send powerful signals to your subconscious mind, boosting your confidence and helping you perform better in real life.
So it's not just positive thinking, it's about really creating that image and feeling it.
Yes, and that ties into the power of positive self-talk as well.
Oh, the way we talk to ourselves?
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught in that cycle of negative self-talk.
Oh, yeah, it's like a broken record sometimes.
But the book argues that when we consciously choose to speak to ourselves with encouragement and belief, it can be incredibly transformative.
So instead of saying, I can't do this, it's about saying, I am capable.
I am worthy.
I am enough.
Exactly. It might seem simple, but these statements can have a profound impact on our self-perception and ultimately our actions.
Like rewiring your brain for positivity and success.
Absolutely. And this also ties into the book's discussion of basic premises, which are essentially those deep-seated beliefs that shape how we see the world and react to situations.
Okay, so these are like the core beliefs that kind of underlie everything else.
Exactly. And the author talks about how a lot of us carry around this limiting belief, this I'm not good enough myth.
Right.
And that really sabotages our success. So he challenges us to confront that myth head on and replace it with a more empowering belief that we have the potential to be excellent in any area that truly matters to us.
So it's about recognizing that we are worthy.
Yes.
And that we are capable of achieving great things.
Yeah, absolutely. We all have that potential, but sometimes those limiting beliefs hold us back.
It's about breaking free from those chains.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another key to unlocking that potential is taking control of our emotions.
Oh, that's a tough one. Sometimes it feels like they have a mind of their own.
It can definitely feel that way. But the book delves into four main causes of negative emotions.
Okay, let's hear like,
Justification,
okay.
identification,
Yeah.
and we're considering some
So
blame.
great. So it's like we get caught up in justifying those negative feelings, dwelling on past hurts and blaming others for our circumstances.
Exactly. And it's a powerful reminder that we have the power to choose how we respond to difficult situations.
We have more control than we think.
Yes. And one of the keys to emotional well-being, the book argues, is learning to get over those inevitable disappointments and failures that life throws our way.
It's about developing that resilience.
Exactly. It's not about ignoring those negative feelings. It's about acknowledging them,
Yeah.
learning from them, and then choosing to move forward.
So how do we do that? How do we let go of the past?
Well, the book offers a really practical tip, and it's eliminating if only from our vocabulary.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because when we dwell on what could have been,
Hmm.
it keeps us stuck in the past.
Right.
But when we focus on the present moment, we empower ourselves to create a better future.
So it's a simple shift in language, but it can have a big impact on our mindset.
Absolutely. And speaking of letting go, the book also places a lot of emphasis on the power of forgiveness.
Forgiveness, that can be a tough one.
It is. It's often misunderstood.
Yeah.
It's not about condoning someone's actions or letting them off the hook.
Right.
It's about freeing ourselves from the burden of resentment and anger.
It's about choosing peace over bitterness.
Exactly. And the book actually encourages us to forgive ourselves,
Ourselves.
the person who hurt us most, and everyone else who's caused us pain.
So it's like a universal forgiveness.
It is. And it even suggests a specific practice, repeating the phrase, I forgive him or her for everything, and I wish him or her well.
It sounds simple, but there's power in that repetition, isn't there?
There is. It's that conscious choice to release those negative feelings and move forward with a lighter heart.
It's about reclaiming your emotional energy and focusing it on creating a brighter future.
Exactly. It's about focusing on what we want to create,
Right.
right? And the book really encourages us to think big, to envision our ideal future, like as if there were no limitations.
Yeah, that's a powerful concept. And I love that quote that the author shares from Norman Vincent Peale. He says, if you paint in your mind a picture of bright and happy expectations, you put yourself into a condition conducive to your goals.
It really is about painting that picture, letting yourself really feel those emotions associated with achieving those dreams.
So it's like you're already there in your mind.
Right. And then the book talks about the importance of not just visualizing those goals, but actually writing them down.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's about taking that dream from your mind and putting it into the physical world.
Exactly. There's something powerful about that act of putting pen to paper.
It's like you're making a commitment.
Right. You're solidifying that intention.
And then the book also argues that writing down those goals actually intensifies belief, deepens conviction, and increases resolve.
It's a powerful practice for sure. And this kind of makes me think about the book's discussion of achieving financial success.
Okay.
It really challenges that myth of luck.
Yeah, we hear that all the time.
Right. But the book argues that it's really about probabilities.
So the more you do to increase your odds of success,
The more likely you are to actually achieve it.
that makes a lot of sense. And I remember the book uses a really interesting analogy of a dart thrower.
Oh, yeah. It's like the more darts you throw, the more likely you are to hit that bullseye.
Right. It's not about getting lucky. It's about taking action, creating those opportunities.
Yeah, and the book highlights the statistic that most of the 5 million millionaires in the U.S. are actually self-made.
Which is really inspiring.
It is. It's like saying that anyone can achieve financial success if they're willing to put in the work.
Absolutely. And speaking of work, the book also emphasizes the importance of, hard work,
Of course.
especially this idea of working all the time you work.
What does that mean exactly?
It means, being fully present and engaged in your work, not letting yourself get distracted by social media or emails.
Right, all those things that can pull us away from what we're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. And it actually challenges us to examine our own work habits. Are we truly making the most of our time?
Are we being productive?
Are we being efficient? These are all good questions to ask ourselves.
Especially in today's world where everything is moving so fast, right? And along with working hard, the book also emphasizes the importance of adding value
Okay.
as a key to wealth creation.
So it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart.
Exactly. It's about going above and beyond to serve your customers or your clients, finding ways to exceed their expectations.
Right. So it's about becoming so good at what you do that you become indispensable.
Absolutely. And the book shares a really inspiring story about a young employee who achieved success by consistently working harder and longer than his colleagues.
Wow.
He was always looking for ways to add value to make a real difference.
So it's a combination of hard work, dedication, and a commitment to excellence.
Exactly, and this kind of ties into the book's practical advice on time management and productivity.
Okay, so let's talk about that because I think that's something we all struggle with.
For sure, and the book highlights the power of, having a sense of urgency, a bias for action.
So it's about being proactive rather than reactive.
Exactly, seizing those opportunities and not letting them slip away.
Okay, and I know the book also advocates for early rising.
Yeah, successful people often get a jump on the day by getting up and going immediately.
So it's about maximizing your time.
Absolutely, and it even offers a specific 3-step formula to double productivity.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it?
Arrive an hour early work, through lunch, and stay an hour late.
Now, I know that might not be feasible for everyone,
Right.
but the principle behind it is really interesting.
Yeah, it's about maximizing your time, focusing on those high-impact activities.
Yeah, and the book shares a story about a woman who doubled her earnings by implementing these habits.
Exactly. So it just goes to show that even small changes can lead to significant results.
Powerful stuff. And then the book transitions into a discussion about identifying our area of excellence.
Oh, yes.
Those unique strengths and talents that make us stand out.
That's about playing to our strengths,
Huh.
right? Focusing on those activities that we're naturally good at.
Yeah, it's about doing what we love and what we're good at.
Absolutely. And the book encourages us to become experts in key result areas of our fields.
Okay, so it's about honing those skills, becoming so proficient that we become indispensable.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to a really powerful concept, that the book introduces zero-based thinking.
Zero-based thinking. So what is that exactly?
It's about regularly assessing our lives and work. Asking ourselves if we'd make the same choices today if we had to start over.
So it's about taking an honest look at our lives and making adjustments if needed.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of our choices rather than just drifting along on autopilot.
I like that. And the book encourages us to apply this thinking to our relationships, our work activities, our finances, really any area of our lives.
Absolutely. And speaking of relationships, the book emphasizes the importance of building strong, positive connections.
Yeah, because relationships are so important.
They are essential for success and happiness.
And the book shares a statistic that 85% of the best jobs in the U.S. are filled through contacts.
Wow, that's huge.
It really highlights the power of networking.
And building those genuine connections.
And the book talks about mastermind groups.
Yes.
Those small groups of like-minded individuals who come together to share ideas and support each other.
It's about surrounding ourselves with people who uplift and inspire us.
People who challenge us to grow.
Absolutely. And the book also highlights the importance of having a mastermind relationship with your spouse or partner.
I love that idea. It's like you're building a shared vision for the future.
Right. You're supporting each other's growth and aspirations.
And you have that person who truly believes in you.
Absolutely. But the book also cautions us to be mindful of who we surround ourselves with.
Right. Not everyone deserves a place in our inner circle.
It's about protecting our mental and emotional well-being, choosing those influences wisely.
And alongside choosing the right people to be around, the book also emphasizes the value of seeking out mentors.
Yes.
Those experienced individuals who can offer guidance and support.
Mentors can be so valuable. They can help us navigate challenges, avoid pitfalls.
Right, they've already been there.
And the book actually offers some practical advice on how to approach potential mentors.
Oh, okay, like what?
It suggests that we start by identifying our specific needs and then reaching out to individuals who have expertise in those areas.
That makes sense.
And it's important to be respectful of their time and expertise while clearly conveying our desire to learn and grow.
So it's about being proactive, finding those individuals who can help us on our journey.
And speaking of journeys, the book dives into the fascinating topic of unlocking our mental potential.
Okay.
Thinking like a genius.
Ooh, I like that.
And it shares a mind-boggling statistic about the human brain's capacity. The number of possible thoughts we can think is greater than the molecules in the known universe.
Wow, that's hard to even comprehend.
It's a reminder of the incredible potential that lies within each of us.
Absolutely. And the book really emphasizes the importance of continuous learning, staying curious.
Embracing that growth mindset.
Right, because there's always something new to learn.
Absolutely. And the book warns against psychosclerosis, which it defines as a hardening of the attitudes, a rigid mindset that resists new information.
So it's about staying flexible,
Adaptable.
open to new perspectives.
Exactly. And this makes me think about how important it is to surround ourselves with diverse viewpoints.
To challenge our own assumptions.
Absolutely. And to further emphasize this point, the book actually contrasts the mechanical way of thinking with the adaptive worldview.
Okay, so what's the difference?
While mechanical thinkers tend to be more rigid in their beliefs, they see the world in black and white, but adaptive thinkers are more fluid, open to new information.
So they're more adaptable.
Exactly. And they're more concerned with what's right rather than who's right.
That's a good distinction. And then the book goes on to discuss the value of reading and learning.
Oh, yes, such an important topic.
It is, and it shares this rather sobering statistic that 70% of American adults haven't visited a bookstore in the last 5 years.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
It is, and it's a reminder that we can easily neglect our intellectual growth if we're not careful.
We get caught up in the busyness of life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the book challenges us to make reading a daily habit.
At least one book per week.
Imagine the knowledge and insights you could gain from that.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a great investment in yourself. And alongside reading the book also emphasizes the importance of ideas.
Ideas are powerful.
They are, and it states that ideas are the primary source of wealth in today's world.
And the more ideas you generate.
The more likely you are to have that breakthrough.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that creative mindset.
Asking questions, exploring new possibilities.
And the book actually introduces this technique called mindstorming.
Mindstorming, so that's about generating a lot of ideas, right?
It is. It's about quantity over quality.
Yeah.
Initially.
Okay.
It's about letting those ideas flow freely without judgment.
Okay. And then you can refine them later.
Exactly. And the book also describes a really simple but powerful method called the 20-idea method.
The 20-idea method. Okay, I've never heard of this.
It involves writing down 20 ideas to achieve a specific goal.
20, that's a lot.
It is, but it forces you to think beyond those initial obvious solutions.
Right, to be more creative.
And the author claims that this method has made more people rich than any other method.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
It is, but it's definitely worth trying.
Yeah.
And speaking of cultivating a success mindset, the book encourages us to embrace what it calls an inverse paranoid mindset.
An inverse paranoid mindset. So what does that mean?
It means someone who believes that the world is conspiring to make them successful.
So they see the good in everything.
They see opportunity in every challenge.
Okay.
They believe that things will ultimately work out in their favor.
So it's like having that unshakable optimism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the book shares an example of W. Clement Stone, who responded to every difficulty with the statement, "That's good."
Wow, so he's always looking for the positive.
Exactly. And then you look for the benefit in that situation.
It's a powerful reminder that our perspective shapes our reality.
Absolutely. If we choose to see the good, we're more likely to create positive outcomes.
I love that. And this leads nicely into the book's discussion of mental programming, which are techniques that use verbalization and visualization to prepare for upcoming events.
Right. So it's like priming your mind for success.
Visualizing that positive outcome.
And the book describes a quick programming technique, which involves mentally rehearsing success before important interactions.
Okay, so it's like giving yourself a pep talk.
Exactly. Reminding yourself of your strengths and visualizing a positive outcome.
And the book also highlights the power of mental rehearsal before sleep.
Yes, programming your subconscious mind to work on those goals while you rest.
So it's like you're setting those intentions before you drift off to sleep.
Exactly. And to make all of these techniques truly effective, the book emphasizes the importance of emotion.
Okay, emotions are powerful.
They are, and they can really fuel our motivation.
So it's not just about thinking about our goals, it's about feeling them.
Exactly. The book describes emotions as the jet fuel that propels us towards our goals.
So it's about harnessing that power.
Absolutely. And speaking of journeys, the book wraps up this section with a discussion about developing courage, which is essential for overcoming fear and achieving success.
Yeah, and it shares that great quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain.
That's a powerful reminder.
It is. Like the more we avoid our fears, the more power they have over us.
Exactly. And when we confront them head on, we take back our power.
And the book also highlights how confronting those fears can lead to growth,
Personal and professional growth.
Yeah, like public speaking, for example.
It's about stepping outside of our comfort zones.
Embracing those challenges.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, we're all self-made.
We have the power to shape our lives.
Through our thoughts, our choices, and our actions.
It's about taking ownership.
Setting high standards for ourselves.
And never stopping learning and growing.
And remember, change starts with a single thought.
So powerful. And that's a great place to wrap up this part of our deep dive. So we've talked about taking ownership of our thoughts, our actions, our emotions, but the book also reminds us to apply this thinking to our relationships,
Yeah,
right?
that zero-based thinking,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's about being honest with ourselves, right? And asking those sometimes difficult questions like,
Like if we could go back, would we make the same choices?
exactly, would we still choose this relationship?
Knowing what we know now.
It's about having the courage to make those changes, even if it means walking away from something that's no longer serving us.
Yeah, it's about creating relationships that are fulfilling and supportive. And this idea of taking ownership, it applies to our finances as well, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
The book really emphasizes the importance of financial discipline, saving money.
Which it can be tough for some people.
It definitely can be. It takes self-control.
And delayed gratification, right?
Yeah, you're making those short-term sacrifices for those long-term gains.
And the book actually quotes W. Clement Stone again. He says, "If you cannot save money, then the seeds of greatness are not in you."
That's a strong statement.
It is, but I think it speaks to the idea that our financial habits are a reflection of our deeper beliefs and values.
Right. It's about making wise choices, and then there's this concept of becoming a money magnet.
A money magnet. That sounds kind of interesting.
It does, right? But
Yeah.
it's actually based on some pretty practical principles.
Like what?
Well, the book argues that saving money actually creates a kind of force field that attracts more money.
So it's about shifting our mindset
From scarcity to abundance, believing that there's always enough.
and that we're worthy of receiving.
Exactly. And the book shares that inspiring story about the used car salesman.
Oh, yeah, the one who became a millionaire.
Yes, he followed the advice to save money, get out of debt, and then when this opportunity came along, he was ready.
He was in the right position to take advantage of it.
Exactly. And it really speaks to the book's overall message of, taking control and creating the reality you want.
And along with that, it's also about learning from our experiences, right? Both the good and the bad.
Absolutely. Embracing that growth mindset.
Yeah.
Seeing every experience as an opportunity to learn and improve.
And I love that the book gives us those two questions to ask after any experience.
Oh, yeah. What did I do right?
Yeah.
What would I do differently?
Yeah.
Such great questions to reflect on.
Yeah, it's about turning those experiences into wisdom so we can make better choices in the future. And, alongside learning from the past, the book also talks about preparing for future challenges, those inevitable disappointments that life throws our way.
It's called mental preparation.
Okay, so it's about anticipating those potential disappointments.
Yeah, and developing a positive response in advance.
So you're not caught off guard.
You have a plan.
You have that resilience.
Exactly. And the book actually uses an example of a company that practices crisis anticipation.
Oh, wow. So they actually plan for the worst case scenarios.
They do. They run through different scenarios, develop strategies, and it's actually made them more resilient and successful.
That's fascinating. So it's all about being prepared, being proactive. And that leads us to the final part of the book, which focuses on living a great life.
A life filled with purpose, meaning, and fulfillment.
And the book reminds us of Aristotle's belief that happiness is the ultimate aim of human action.
It's what we're all striving for.
And he also said, only the good can be happy, and only the virtuous can be good.
That's deep.
It suggests that true happiness is about living a virtuous life.
Guided by integrity, kindness, compassion.
And the book really emphasizes the importance of integrity.
It's about being honest.
True to yourself,
And to others.
living in alignment with your values, and doing the right thing.
Even when it's hard.
Absolutely. And, the book shares some interesting research on the importance of integrity in business.
It's crucial.
It turns out that honesty and integrity are the most important factors in customer buying decisions.
Makes sense. People want to do business with those they can trust.
Exactly. And this principle applies not just to business, but to all our relationships, right?
Absolutely. Trust is built on honesty and integrity.
And finally, the book challenges us to set high standards for ourselves with those three powerful questions.
Oh, yeah. I remember those.
What kind of a world would it be if everyone was just like me?
What kind of a country?
What kind of a company?
Those are great questions to consider.
They really make you think about the impact you're having and the kind of legacy you want to leave behind.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think we've come to the end of our deep dive into change your thinking, change your life.
What a journey it's been. We've covered so much ground.
So many powerful ideas and practical tips.
If you're looking for a guide on your journey of personal growth and self-discovery, I highly recommend checking out this book.
It's a game changer.
And as we wrap up, remember, change starts with a single thought. So what will your thought be?
That's the question.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to create the life you truly desire.